Welcome to the Not Old Better Show Good Housekeeping interview series on radio and podcast. The show covering all things health, wellness, culture, kitchen, cooking, and more. The show for all of us who aren't old. We're better. Each week, we'll interview superstars, experts, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things, all related to this wonderful experience of getting better, not just older. Now here's your host, the award-winning Paul Vogelzak.
Thank you. Today's episode is brought to you by Wayfair. Every style, every home, Wayfair. And today's episode is special because of our guest today. We open a very large, very red book, if any of you remember This Is Your Life. And it begins with a familiar scene. A kitchen, a sink, a dish towel, and someone, possibly you, asking, "Do I really have to pre-rinse this?" And from just off stage, a calm voice answers with the confidence of 4 decades of proof. No, because this is your life, Carolyn Forté. We didn't grab her in a hotel lobby like old television used to do. We simply lured her in the most modern way to our Good Housekeeping interview series with a quick question about dishwashers and a suspiciously spotty wine glass. Our guest today is long-time standout personality from Good Housekeeping Lab's Carolyn Forté, who has spent more than 40 years at Good Housekeeping, moving from the Textiles Lab to the Home Care and Cleaning Lab, where clean isn't a vibe, it's data. Carolyn Forté and her team over the years don't just read labels, they challenge them. They make stains on purpose. They time cycles. They inspect fibers. They argue with myths. They test what works, what's hype, and what's going to leave your towels smelling like regret. Carolyn Forté has written books, taught millions, partnered with the American Cleaning Institute, appeared on the Today Show, and helped turn everyday home care into something practical, even reassuring, especially for those of us who want our homes to stay safe, comfortable, and easier to manage at this stage in our life and as the years add up. And yes, somewhere in the pages of this big red book, we're back to that, is a sentence you never expected to hear. A waterproof computer keyboard went into a dishwasher. Yeah, that was done for science. So settle in, because today is a warm, funny, heartfelt look back at the career of the woman who saved more family arguments than any referee could. Join me on the Good Housekeeping interview series, Good, Better, Best, Good Housekeeping Lab's expert, Carolyn Forté. Carolyn Forté, it's so nice to see you. I'm excited to talk to you. This is going to be a fun interview for many, many reasons, but welcome back.
Thank you, Paul. It's really nice to be here. It's an honor to be back with you. I'm very excited about that.
You are the queen of clean, and it is just a thrill for me to be talking to you again, especially today. 45 years of work at Good Housekeeping. You're wrapping it up, and my tip of the cap to you. Congrats on everything. I know you're just getting so many well wishes from every corner, and I just have to extend mine and my audiences and my gosh, just a heartfelt congratulations to you. You've got to feel pretty good about this all too.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot, and I really do. And like I said, like you said, the outpouring has been of well wishes and kind notes and sweet words and hugs. It's just been overwhelming, and it kind of really, we get so involved in the day to day, we forget to look at the big picture sometimes. And it really touches me to think that so many people feel that I have touched them, and I think that's really what it's about. And that kind of, to me, measures the success of your career. How many people you've really impacted. I mean, I can write lots of stories and tell people how to get out lots of stains, but it's the people that you touch along the way, I think, that make the real difference.
Yes, that's very well said. You just have done and you deserve it. So many people think so wonderfully of you. I've gotten to know you a little bit, and everyone that I talk to just it has such nice things, and they're all true, and it's just the
Thank
best.
you. Thank you.
Just
Thank
the
you so
best.
much.
What a career! What a fantastic career.
Mhm.
So, I kind of wanted to treat our conversation as kind of a combination. I want to talk about spring cleaning because that's on our minds these
Right.
days, but I also can we set a little foundation and just give a little bit of just heft to this career of yours because I think it's just been just an amazing one. You don't see that today. You really
No.
don't. So
Mhm.
I always loved the "This Is Your Life" program. I
Yeah,
thought that
I
was a
remember
fun
that.
program. Yeah, I think our audience will remember that too. And they used to
Ralph
open with the
Edwards,
big
right?
red.
Wasn't it Ralph
That's
Edwards?
it. That's it. It was Ralph. Yep. And so I want to open up that big red book with you, and I want to go back to Queens College and
Mhm.
just have you tell us a little bit about what that was like then, because you were thinking even then of kind of some work as a career in consumer related kind of activities. It was probably more broad at that point, but tell us
Yes.
a little bit about Queens College in those days and
Okay.
really what shaped you.
Well, Queens College is part of the City University of New York. So, and they had at the time I went, it was called Home Economics. Now it's Family and Consumer Sciences. But I just there was something about the practicality and the touch with real people and real lives that really appealed to me. Um, so I majored in home ec. I had a business minor, so I took all and I loved school, so I took the math classes and the calculus and the sciences. So that kind of prepared me a little bit for what I do, I think. Um, and they had different tracks. I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to go into dietetics. So business and consumer products are what really interested me. So I kind of went that route. Um, Tried to take my, practical consumer knowledge with a scientific eye and bring it, to make an impact on consumers and their home lives. And that's kind of where good housekeeping fell into play. And I knew early on, so I love that curriculum. Graduated. My first job out of college was with Montgomery Ward. At the time, they had a textile
Okay.
testing lab here in New
Wow.
York.
Wow.
And, so I did. I worked here, and I did all of the flammability, staining, measuring, shrinkage, all of the textile evaluations for their catalog and retail merchandise. I did that for about a year and a half. But had seen in college a picture of the Good Housekeeping Institute in the magazine that was kind of like a little schematic, and I always stuck in my head as someplace I'd like to work. So at the time, you would check the classified ads in the New York Times to find your job. And I did that, found an opening in the Textiles Lab at Good Housekeeping, applied 3 times, took me 3 resumes to get through, but I did it. And here we are. So that was the beginning of my career at Good Housekeeping, and today's the last day.
Yes.
So it's
Well,
been amazing.
it has been amazing. A little bit sad,
Yeah.
honestly, but just such a treat for me to be talking to you, of course. Was there a moment that you really just kind of said to yourself, I have found my place? Was there a stain that just jumped out at you? Montgomery wards, I always think of as monkey wards. Was
Yes.
there a.
Yes, that's what people used to call it. And honestly, so
Yeah.
I was in textiles for about 3 years. My husband and I were getting married, and I said, "Well, you know what? I think I'm getting a little itchy." And I said, "Well, after the wedding, I'll start to look." And after the wedding, and I came back, a position in the appliances. I was in textiles, and a position in the appliances and home care lab had opened up as associate director. So it was a position and a change of industry and content for me. So I applied for it and got it. And I think the thing that really cinched it for me was the woman I worked for, the director at the time. She was an amazing mentor. And they say that all you need is one person to change the course of your life. And I would say that, she was one of the most key people that did that for me. Um, she was so well respected in the industry. She just took me wherever she went. She introduced me to everyone. She had to give a speech. She said, "Carolyn, I'm going to write the speech, but you're going to give it." So
Wow.
she wanted me to get out there and
Yeah.
be the
That was
face
really nice.
of the lab. She ultimately retired not long after I started there in that lab, and I had the opportunity to then become director and take it and grow the lab. So I would say that, if it weren't for her name is Joan Mees, and we're still in touch to these days. So
Oh, that's wonderful.
she's amazing. If it weren't for her, I might not still be here. You never know what one person can do.
It's really true and very generous early on to have that kind of gracious
Yes.
lift.
Absolutely. And people talked about her for years. I would go to the trade shows and meet with companies, and they say, "Did you know Joan Mies? Did you work with Joan Mies?" So I feel like I've kind of been able to carry on that legacy in the category a little bit myself, and that makes me very proud to know that I've been able to do that after following in her footsteps.
Everyone that I've spoken to about you says the same thing, that you are just so genuine. You're such an honest person. You really embody this trust that Good Housekeeping has just been all about. Did you connect that immediately? Did you just say to yourself, this is something that we really need to stand by?
Well, I've always believed in the mission of Good Housekeeping,
Yeah.
and I
Hmm.
mean, when I first started, it was just in terms of product evaluations and rating companies, it was just us and Consumer Reports. So
Yeah.
now everybody's rating products, even consumers are doing it on Amazon. So there's a lot more competition out there. But I always believed in the mission of Good Housekeeping. I always believed in the Good Housekeeping seal. As long as we stood behind a product and put our money where our mouth is, and I've dealt with many, many consumer complaints through my career, helped consumers, spoken to them, talked to them about their problems, resolved their issues, and they believe in Good Housekeeping. And like I said, we said sometimes we here in New York we get so focused on our little work and our editorial and everything we have to crank out. You don't realize the impact that it has on the
Yeah.
people who are reading your
Right.
stories. So I think that's what's always kept me, kept the flame going for me, and something that I've tried to maintain and uphold through the years is the trust that people put in Good Housekeeping. I want them to put it in me as well.
Take us behind the scenes a little bit into the stain lab. There's always one more stain. I've got a stain. I've got to talk to you about. I got a little piece of milk chocolate on a nice piece of cotton that
Uh,
I need your advice on. But before we get to that, you really were creating some of these messes on purpose, right? I mean,
we do. We absolutely do. When we evaluate anything that claims to remove stains, whether it's a laundry detergent, a bleach, a stain pre-treater, we have swatches of fabric that apply by hand, stains to food stains, chocolate. We do ink, we do grass, we do cola, wine, coffee, of 20 different stains. We let them sit for 24 hours, and then we wash them. And then after they air dry, we look at them under a standard bank of light. So again, everything is visually graded, given a number, but it's under standard conditions. So if we're testing detergents, we use identical washing machines because we don't want the washing machine to impact that. If we're testing washing machines, we use identical detergents. So we factor out as much variability as we possibly can. So the cleaning lab is really one of the more hands-on departments, I would say, here in the Institute. It's not, there are standard protocols that we follow for certain things, but a lot of it is just, the everyday stuff that consumers come up against. How can we find a solution for them?
blood is one of those. Hard to even bring that up, really.
I
In
know.
a conversation.
Well, we use meat blood, and though it's not technically the same, one of the things about Good House, we've been using meat blood, but I feel like, there are other options we should be looking into. So one of the things that we do at Good Housekeeping is we make our tests robust and we change them as we need to. And if every dishwasher gets everything clean, that doesn't tell us anything. It tells us that our soils are too easy. So what we need to be able to do is discriminate between products. So um, one of my messages to the colleagues that are following behind me is to maybe look into some alternatives that we can use for staining products and update them so that they're more repeatable. You want it to be the same no matter when you do it. So sometimes you need to turn to synthetic compounds to duplicate what happens at home.
And just when you think Carolyn Forté, when you're thinking, okay, dishwashers, detergents, towels, we've got it. We're about to turn the page to chapters you didn't even see coming. So stay with us because in a moment we're going behind the lab doors where the stains are made on purpose. The myths go on trial and the results are sometimes hilarious. So stay with us because the next part of This Is Your Life, Carolyn Forte, includes the test that still makes people blink twice. Yes, there's a dishwasher-safe computer keyboard. And yes, science demanded it face judgment. And stay with us because we're also stepping into what's next for Carolyn, what she still wants to prove, what she still wants to change about the way we clean, and how she's helping all of us, especially listeners 50 and better, make home life easier, safer, and a whole lot less work. Because when we come back, the big red book opens again, and you never know who or what might walk through that door. Stay with us.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You might notice a short, familiar sound right before and right after this message. That's our sponsor today, Wayfair's Sonic logo. Sounds cool. A quick audio signature that helps you all instantly recognize our Wayfair sponsor brand. Kind of like how a favorite song takes you back to a moment. We all have songs like that. I certainly do. It's simple, memorable, and a great way for our sponsors to stay connected with you, our audience. We're grateful for Wayfair sponsorship. You know, if you've been thinking about refreshing your space or just making your home work a little better for the way you live, let me tell you about what's been working for us here. I've always leaned toward a comfortable, mid-century feel, clean lines, warm tones, nothing really fussy. But like a lot of us, our family room has started to feel a little cluttered now that our grandson is living with us and not quite as functional as it could be. So I went on Wayfair, and I'll tell you, it was surprisingly easy to zero in on exactly what we needed. The filters, the photos, all these settings that you have, these choices, the thousands of reviews you can read about each product, it really helped me feel confident I was making the right choice without second guessing. What we ended up getting, just so that you know, was a folding game table, but it's not really a table. It's a cabinet that doubles as a side table. It is super cool. And honestly, it's really been a small transformation in our family room. It tucks away when we don't need it. It opens up when the family's all over and we're going to do a puzzle or play a game together, and it just fits our space perfectly. It actually made the whole room feel more organized and welcoming. The assembly, simple, great for me. Clear instructions, no headache. That's what I think sets Wayfair apart. It's not just about having a lot of options, because there's a ton of options out there. It's about helping you find the right option for your home, your style, and your budget. Whether it's storage solutions, a seasonal refresh, or that one piece that pulls a room together, it's all there and it's easy. Find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's Wayfair, WAYFAIR.com, Wayfair. Every style, every home. All of this will be in our show notes today, but remember, wayfair.com, Wayfair, every style, every home. Thanks, everybody.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Carolyn Forté, our guest today, of course, 45 years with Good Housekeeping Institute, an amazing career, so loved and so trusted. And I think that it's just this real unique position that you're in. We don't find people staying for 45 years any longer. So it says a lot about you, but I think it says an awful lot about Good Housekeeping Institute too. And of course, the cleaning lab has been your domain. And we welcome you. It will be sad to see you leave. I hope you will stay in touch with us a little bit. But I want to return to kind of this idea of This Is Your Life. They always had a segment where they would have a surprise guest that would come in. And so if someone walked through right now into your office, into your area, and just was, interested in, kind of this idea of, what it's like to have worked with you or for you, who would that person be, and what do you think they might say?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, I'd love to see, the mentor, my first director, come back. It
Yeah.
would be amazing
Mhm.
to see kind of
I
how
was thinking
far
that
we've
too, yeah.
come and what we've done. I did actually have a visit from one of my college professors come through the lab, and she came back. And I didn't even realize that she remembered me. So I took her, through the labs and we toured through. So that was fun to show her that. And I think I think the first editor-in-chief I had, early on in my career, his name was John McCarter. He was, at that time, we had men who were editors-in-chiefs of women's magazines, um, and he was the one, I have to say, that, really set me off on doing media. He sent me on a media tour across the country where I did radio and television interviews. So, a wonderful person to work for, just a gentleman and somebody who's, again, so well respected in the industry. So I'd love to bring them back, just to show them what's happened to the lab since they were here, early on in my career. It would be great.
Yeah, you're still doing some of that. I in my research for our conversation today, I watched a Today Show interview with you. I watched you on Drew Barrymore's program, and I just thought you just do such a great job at that too. So these were generous people in your life, and
They were.
you bring that out, I'm sure.
Thank you. No, they were very generous. I had very supportive editors. After John McCarter, we were privileged to get Ellen Levine, who was the first female editor of Good Housekeeping, and she was a big cheerleader for me. She was the one who got me on the Today Show. Once I did a once a month segment every month on the Today Show. All about whatever we were doing in the institute. It wasn't just about cleaning, but I was talking about everything from Good Housekeeping. So, great training for those kinds of things. And I love doing live TV. So I think that was just a perfect opportunity. And so to have the support, of the people up above that really give you the launch pad to do what you want is just amazing. Amazing.
Nice. Well, just my best to you, and I just gush when I get a chance to talk to you, Carolyn Forté. I have to tell you, you're referred to as the peacemaker, and sometimes in charge of peace talks in certain households over dishwashers and whether to rinse or not, and the great debate that's often surrounding that. And so I wonder if you'll settle that debate a little bit for us and tell us, what's the best strategy here? Is it to start with the detergent? Is it to rinse? Is it just to put things in and let the dishwasher do its work? Give us kind of this be all end all kind of 10,000-foot look at dishwasher activity.
Okay, well, that's easy. Dishwashers have gotten very good over the years.
Yeah.
They're very energy efficient, but they're also very good. Manufacturers have really focused in on cleaning performance and, offering a variety of different cycles. So you definitely do not. I can, answer. And this is the $64,000 question that I get all the time. But you can definitely skip the pre-rinse. Now, I'm going to explain that. There are a few little caveats. One is that you should wipe the dishes off. So you don't have to rinse them. Rinsing them wastes water. But give them a good wipe, with a napkin paper napkin or something that's going in the trash. Put them in. And then if you are going to run the load right away, there's no further thing you need to do. Just put your detergent in. Always use a rinse aid. I always recommend using a rinse aid and run your cycle. Now, there's something consumers may not be aware of is that the normal cycle, most people just pick normal. Normal today is not what normal used to be years ago. Normal used to be the go-to cycle. Today normal is more like light soil. There's so many sensors in the dishwashers that adjust the water and the temperature and the length of the cycle. So your really go-to cycle should be your auto cycle. And most dishwashers have an auto cycle, smart wash, something like that. So, normal has become the kind of the little bit of the lighter cleaning cycle. If you are not going to wash the dishes right away, let's say you don't have a full load and you want to you got a few plates, I would say wipe them off or run a rinse only cycle, because you don't want the food drying on. You don't want odors to develop in the dishwasher. So, detergents have gotten better. They clean, 24 and 48-hour baked on soils as well, but you want to give it the best shot you can. So if you're not going to run it right away, just do a quick rinse. It's only about a gallon. It uses a gallon or two. It uses less water than rinsing would be at the sink, and you're good to go.
Great tips. Always such great tips from Carolyn Forté. Well, April is coming up, certainly the April issue of Good Housekeeping, and we're going to focus on spring cleaning. Maybe give us a real high-level look, kind of that 10,000-foot look at some of the best spring cleaning tips that you can give to
Well,
us?
spring cleaning is different to everyone, and I think some people don't even spring clean; they clean in the fall before the holidays. So, you know, I think what's important about spring cleaning is that whatever gives you that feeling of renewal, of freshness, kind of tossing out the winter, gloom and doom and opening up to spring. So it could be washing the windows. It could be cleaning behind the furniture or the places that you normally skip all year long, the up high and the down low spots that you tend to overlook when you're speed cleaning. Um, Maybe it's cleaning out something, cleaning out clutter is kind of like the new cleaning in a way too. You're not actually cleaning anything, but you're getting rid of things. So you're freeing up some space. So, or maybe it's a chore that's nagging at you. It doesn't have to be. I mean, I remember, when I grew up and my mom did spring and fall cleaning and we would just do everything from top to bottom. And I think that's what gives it such an, overwhelming and onerous feel. It doesn't have to be that, especially if you maintain areas throughout the year. Spring is the time to get to the things that you don't usually get to, so you feel that sense of accomplishment. I think that's the best advice.
That's wonderful advice. What's the most bizarre thing you've been asked to clean?
Well, there was a time when we would get readers would call us. They don't call us anymore. We sometimes get emails, but they would call us on the phone at the office and ask for stain removal advice, and I would give advice over the phone. So one day I had a gentleman call me in the afternoon asking me how to remove lipstick stains from bed sheets. I was like,
Uh-oh.
I helped him, but I was like, no judgment here. I don't know. And then
Yes. Yes,
another
absolutely.
time, I think the strangest, and this one I couldn't even answer. Somebody asked me how to remove a gunpowder stain, and I was like, I don't know if I should tell you, first of all. And had never experienced that before. So I said, well, is there a hole? Is it burnt? What do you need? So I think those were, you never know what people are going to call and ask you. But those are two of the most bizarre ones that stick out in my mind.
Those are doozies. Those are doozies. I will admit to you, I've said this to you before, confess this. I'm a bit of a clean freak. And I wonder if you could tell us about cleaning today, because it's more than just kind of being fresh, perhaps. It is about hygiene, but it's also about health and safety, especially as we get a little bit older. So maybe talk a little bit about this difference, this distinction now that cleaning really has to do with some important elements of our safety and our just good health.
It really does. And I think, I hate to say it, but I think as a result of COVID, everybody was really got a little bit more in tune to cleaning and their IQ went up a little bit and realized the importance of cleaning. And for a number of reasons. A clean home, an organized home is a relaxing home. It's your sanctuary. It's where you go to. It's where you feel good about. It doesn't cause stress, which it shouldn't do. So from a wellness perspective, I think, a clean home and whatever that is, everybody's definition of clean is different, but it helps you feel like your home is healthier. And then of course there's the germ, the ideas of killing germs and keeping your home germ free. I don't subscribe to the fact that every surface needs to be disinfected. I mean, you can't do that. So, certain things are fine to leave as they are, but be smart about things like cross-contamination or mildew and mold that are growing in places that shouldn't be. I mean, those are things I think that are easy enough to handle, and keep your home and your family healthy without going overboard. But yeah, cleaning, with social media, I never thought cleaning would take off as it has. And I think it's crazy, right? But I think it's become, it's not one of people's favorite things to do, but I think people realize much more now how important it is and how much a clean space adds to the quality of your life.
I'm the appointed clothes washer in our family, and I just love it. I love that role. I love doing it as kind of a service to everybody, but I love the cleanliness of it, and it sanitizes
Yes.
too. And so in my mind, I'm kind of thinking some of those same kinds of
Right.
things. I wonder, over the decades, what's changed more? Has the technology changed more about this subject of cleanliness, or is it just this idea of cleanliness as
Um,
wellness?
I think that's become more apparent. I mean, if you think about cleaning products. I mean, bleach was founded. I mean, early on, it was invented to sanitize and clean and kill germs. I mean, if we didn't have things like that, plagues and everything else would be impacting our daily life. So cleaning products have helped Americans and helped humans become healthier. So I think that's really important. I had a conversation as a result of a conference with the emergency room nurse who handled the first COVID patient in New York. And she said, we didn't know what we were dealing with, but what we knew how to do was clean. And we knew how to keep things clean. So that goes to speak to the importance of that. I think, cleaning has come a long way in terms of ingredients. Cleaning ingredients have gotten better. Cleaning formulations have gotten better. Consumer response has been great. As consumers have been more concerned about the ingredients in their products, manufacturers have responded. Technologies, like I said, dishwashers have gotten better in terms of appliances have gotten better. Even cleaning in cold water, to save energy. Who would ever think? I mean, everything my mother washed, she washed in hot water. But you don't have to do that anymore because formulations are made so that they work better in cold water, which not only saves energy, but protects your clothes and fabrics. So there's a lot of science, which is one of the things that I love most behind cleaning products and appliances. And I don't think people always realize that.
If one of our older age listeners were to come to you and just say, I'm a believer in cleaning, I just don't have the stamina to do it in the same way that I did it. What's one thing that you would say, well, you can just stop doing that right now? And what's one thing that you would just tell them, have to keep going with that?
First, I'd tell them I don't have the stamina either, so you're not alone.
Right.
But I would say probably, focus on the things that are most visible. So, dusting is if you ask me what my least favorite chore is, I'm going to tell you it's dusting. I hate it. But it's the thing that you see most readily when it builds up. So, and I think if you try to do little maintenance things more regularly, you have to deep clean less often. So don't let things build up. That would be my best advice. I'd rather take 5 minutes now and wipe the stove down, wipe the countertops down, than have to scrub it later on. When you see something, tackle it then. I'm a big believer in drying the shower down after you take a shower. It takes minutes, just a few minutes. And it's unbelievable what it'll do in terms of keeping your grout clean. Make sure you do things like be proactive about it, is I think what I'm trying to say. And put an exhaust fan on, open the window, do what you can to mitigate and delay cleaning so you don't have to do it as often.
Just a couple more questions for you, Carolyn Forté.
Okay,
I
sure.
promise I'll get out of your hair real quick. But after 45 years of this wonderful work, all the consumer education that you've done, what is your hope for your legacy? What would you like it to be?
I would like for people to see that I found the joy in what I did. That I think I always felt like, cleaning was kind of second fiddle to I'm in the magazine world. So it's beauty, it's fashion, it's home, it's food, it's all the glamorous things that people want to see when they open a magazine. But you know what? The name of our magazine is Good Housekeeping. So, it'll always be part of our DNA. And I hope that people felt that I brought enthusiasm and a sense of joy to show them that, if I always felt like if I wasn't excited about what I was doing, how could I expect our readers to be? So, see that it really is important. And whether you love it and want to do it or hate it and need help doing it quickly, we could help with that.
One of the things that's always inspired me about you, Carolyn, is how curious a person you are. I'd put that right up there. That's just who you are as a person, and it's just served you so well in this career.
Thank you. And sometimes I forget that about myself too, because we have desk sides where companies will come and show us their new products and tell us what's new and hoping that we'll cover them. And I'm the one that's always asking the most questions. Everybody else is sitting at a table and I'm saying, well, what about this? And what about that? So it helps me understand, what went into their mind when they were thinking of this product. Why did you bring it to market? What did consumers tell you that they wanted, that this product takes care of. Let me understand your position a little bit better so I know when I look at the product, where you're coming from. And I've always tried to do that. And I love taking things apart and figuring out how they work. So I think that's part of the whole thing. Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Carolyn Forté, our queen of clean, has joined us. Oh my gosh, 45 years at Good Housekeeping. We will miss you. I will miss you.
Thank you, Paul.
And but you will be remembered so fondly. And congratulations on everything you've done. I would love to have you come back. Maybe update us in a couple of months about what you're doing, where you're at. There's more career ahead for you, I believe.
That would be great. That would be great. I don't think Good Housekeeping's seen the last of me yet, and certainly I'll be posting some tips on Instagram, so I'll be there. And
awesome.
Like I said, you can take the girl out of the lab, but you can't take the lab out of the girl.
Well said. Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carolyn.
My pleasure.
Good to see you.
Bye.
As we gently close the big red book on This Is Your Life, Carolyn Forté, we're left with something rare, the comfort of real expertise earned, tested, and shared with heart. For more than 40 years at Good Housekeeping, Carolyn Forté has helped set the standard for what consumers can trust, from her early days in the Textiles Lab to leading the home and care cleaning lab as executive director. She's done the work most of us will never see, testing appliances, detergents, tools, and fabrics with a scientist's eye and a neighbor's common sense. She's authored and shaped Good Housekeeping books and guides, appeared as an expert on the Today Show regularly, helped bring cleaning science to the public through countless media appearances, and worked alongside the American Cleaning Institute to help the whole industry do better. And she's done it with the kind of practicality that saves marriages and dinner parties. No, you don't need to pre-rinse. Yes, rinse aid matters. And the one that has rescued more favorite shirts than we can count, never, ever send a stain into the dryer unless you know it's gone. Carolyn Forté, we're grateful for you, for your fairness, your calm, your authority, your humor, and the way you've made home feel more manageable, especially for those of us who want life to stay independent, safe, and a little easier as the years go by. We're cheering for everything for you ahead, and we're sending you real affection and admiration for your next chapters because you're still writing them. And friends, you can hear this episode again, share it with family, and explore our full back catalog anytime at notold-better.com. Follow us on Twitter at notoldbetter and on Instagram at notoldbetter for more episodes, clips, behind-the-scenes looks, updates, special information. This is a production of NOBS Studios. I'm your host, Paul Vogelsang. I'm so glad you spent time with us. Be well. Let's talk about better. The Not Old Better Show on radio, podcast, video, you name it, we're there. So join me again next time. And until then, take good care. And let the dishwasher do the work. Thanks, Carolyn.